What's up, guys? That really gross guy here, and we're back. And this is my attempt at kind of remedying one of the recent videos that I put out, and that is because basically the Argonak. People were not happy with the way I reviewed the Argonak, and it wasn't necessarily a full review. It was based on basically how the weapon functions, and also the idea behind these reviews. I've done a few iterations of reviews in the past. And we'll talk about that a little bit more. But the idea was I added a little bit to the damage, and or a little bit of damage to the weapon, and that's it. I didn't include multi-shot mods. I didn't really include status or crit boosting mods. I left all that on the table for people to be able to decide whether or not they wanted to pursue crit builds, status builds, or whatever, multi-shot. And I understand that the fundamental of making these weapons like really good relies on certain mods such as multi-shot and just pretty much multi-shot and obviously increasing damage, but depending on the crit and status percentages, those come into play as well. But this is going to be my way of trying to remedy that. So let's get in here. Let's just talk a little bit about how I currently have it set up, modded. So I had someone, Nick the Knack. He had a lot of good and bad feedback. And what I mean by that is I had a lot of criticisms. He was criticizing me and a lot of things I did, and he had to. There was parts of the comment. I'm not trying to be an asshole. I'm not trying to point anybody out. I've done builds where I included all 8 mod slots totally full, telling people this is how I build my weapons. And there were people telling me, you're doing it wrong, you're an idiot, blah, blah, blah. And just because the build doesn't work for them doesn't mean it doesn't work for me. And I tried to stray away from that. So what I decided to do was water it down. And in the past, I've done kind of what he is explaining. Just throw on Serration, split chamber, and then depending on whatever point strike or some dual stat mods. And I've had people saying, this doesn't work, I don't have split chamber, this doesn't work, I don't have this or that, and I would get criticized that way. And after that, I decided to water it down even further. The fact that I watered it down too far was not accepted very well, so this is me trying to remedy it, and I'm going to pursue something more along this in the future if you guys give me good feedback once again. But the idea is throwing on Serration it's a max Serration. There's a lot of people that have said it to me in the past. I don't have max Serration. It costs way too much to get a max Serration. So people will get mad at me for that. Maybe not, because now that I've pointed all this out, some people may not say anything, but trust me, I've gotten those comments in the past. Anyways, I'm going to throw on max Serration. I'm going to throw on a max point strike. I'm going to throw in a couple dual stat mods, which I understand not everybody has. Some people may not like this. And then a partial split chamber because that's what I can fit. I could remove a little bit of Serration to get a max split chamber, but similar, not everyone has a split chamber. You can jump on the market and get these if you really insist on having these mods to follow this build. But I'm leaving 3 mod slots open, one of which is a dash because it came with a dash, and I only have 42. So that's going to allow me to somewhat water this build down and let you guys take it from here. Sorry if this does not work for you. I understand that my builds don't work for everybody, or just in general, some people just absolutely flat out refuse to, take anyone's advice. But there were a few people that were, you could get your point across. Just putting it out there, you can get your point across to me, without criticizing me as a person, calling me stupid, or this or that. I don't know. We'll just get past that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump in here, and I'm going to throw pretty much the similar enemies up. People are saying level 35 is too difficult, but then I have people saying level 20 enemies, anything, you can take a freaking MK1 Bratton in there and kill those guys in 2 seconds. What are you doing? I've had those comments in the past, so I'm trying to find a middle ground, guys, so bear with me. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to throw in level 30 because I am not using just a Serration now, so I do have decent stats. I'm going to throw in level 30 enemies, and we're going to go Corpus, or not Corpus, we're going to go with some more of the corrupted, because that's what everyone tests this stuff on. Because I will be using Corpus Crewmans and Corpus Butchers and Bombards, it's going to give you a little bit of corrupted Grineer, corrupted, Corpus, and then I don't know. You guys can judge from there. So we're gonna do similar to last time. Throw in Bombard, throw in a bunch of Butchers, and we're gonna throw in some corrupted crewmen. We could try after this some corrupted Eximus. I don't know. You guys can obviously judge whether or not I accurately represent it if I fight some crewmen. I don't know. Corrupted Moas, we'll throw in 2 of those, and Nullifiers, 2 of those. The reason why someone mentioned to me, the reason I should have used fully automatic on the Nullifier's bubble. I know that. I just opted to use semi-fire because I wanted to see how significant each bullet actually made on the Nullifier's bubble. If I were to dumb it down to auto fire, yes, obviously it would go down faster, but I wanted to see the increments in which the bubble went down. But anyways, we'll go through. We will go and settings. We will go enemy level to 30, and we'll do the invincible thing. Like I said, this is just showing how much damage the thing can do. Doesn't necessarily mean I will put down these enemies fast enough to take all of their fire. Obviously, the better you are at parkour or whatever, it's going to help you survive. So we're just not simulating the survivability portion of this. We're going to go in, we're going to simulate, and see what happens. Like I said, if this is, to you, if this is a more appropriate way of reviewing these weapons, let me know. Because, like I said, I always get some sort of negative feedback on these videos, and I'm trying to weed out which ones are better than the others. Sorry, I am on single fire right now, so let's get a little bit of distance to these guys, and then single shots. Okay. Single shots relatively quickly took down the Moa itself. His drone down in what seemed to be 4 shots. These Butchers, 2 shots apiece, 1 to 2 shots apiece. This is in semi-auto. We will switch to full auto. Actually, let's go semi-auto a couple more times for the heavy gunners. Going straight on headshots, 2, 3, 4 shots on heavy gunners. Was able to take those guys out. Nullies. We're gonna simulate this all over again, guys, for full auto. So we're gonna go Nully bubble. 10 shots took out his bubble, and inside of his bubble will go a single shot takes out the Nully. Okay, so similar idea. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 shots on a Nully, and I can't land shots. Okay, it took about 2 shots because it doesn't look like my first one was a crit. But corrupted drone, 2 shots. This guy, 2 shots. Bombards, 4 shots. Oops. That's 4 on that one. There was already 1 on this one, 2 on that one, 3 on that one, 4 on that one. Okay. So, when the crits proc, we are very quickly taking these guys out. And obviously, like I said, I did say in the other video that this is a crit heavy weapon. The fact that I didn't show crit, people were not happy with, so I'm trying to show crit. And it helps having crit when it's in its single fire mode, which is, here is semi-auto. You will see that the crit chance with this current build, with the multi-shot and with the point strike, not including additional mods, not including a full split chamber, 67% crit chance, 67.5. If we're gonna go full auto, which we will do now, let's just point out, if we're gonna go full auto like we are now, you are gonna have a smaller crit chance, but you are gonna be putting ammunition downrange a lot faster. Status is going to be higher in its full auto stage, so that's where you're going to benefit from high voltage and malignant force. We are going to switch over to config C in just a moment because it is going to be crit based, and we will show that on both builds because, like I said, semi-auto is going to be a lot better for crit. We will take a look at that. Well, I guess I don't have the space, so unfortunately this will not be as good. It does have a higher crit multiplier because I do have hammer shot on instead. If you guys care enough to check out my build C for it, then just stick around. So we'll jump in here. We will simulate once again. We are jumping on full auto. We are going in, and obviously because we will be putting ammo down faster, these guys should be going down faster. Like I said, crits will not be popping in as frequently, but in full auto mode, in scenarios like this, it took like probably 6 to 7 shots to take down that heavy gunner because I didn't get too many crits in there. But you're using a little bit more ammo, but you are killing him, probably pretty much just as fast. You get that corrosive proc because of the better status chance on the weapon. Then, yeah, you get that corrosive in there. You mitigate that armor, then you will be better off on auto fire. If you're gonna rely on that status to get your corrosive, then I guess auto fire is gonna be the way to go. Obviously, you can throw on, kind of like I did, you can throw on a little bit to help your crit multiplier, because obviously the higher crit you have, it will still help you in the end. But who the heck is that? This guy? Alright. There we go. So, probably just as good. Auto fire, you could say, as long as you can keep your cursor over the enemies, you would be better off using auto fire because you will be firing shots much more frequently. So we'll jump over, and like I said, we'll jump over here with crit multiplier a little bit higher. Critical chance is about the same, but unfortunately, because of the requirements of the limitations by the capacity, we will probably, I'm assuming we will struggle a little bit more than we did on the last build, especially based on how much red we see. But if we can get the crits to still land, we will be doing a higher damage per crit. So we'll check that out. So we'll jump in there. We'll try and knock these out faster than we did the last two. So let's just go in. Let's go simulate. We're on semi-auto. We'll run this full wave of semi-auto quick. We are firing very, very slowly, and that is because of... Let me just check my build in just a moment. Make sure we look at what is making the semi-auto so dreadfully slow. Upgrade the crit delay. Getting that crit chance up to, because of this, is decreasing our fire rate way too far. So you could scrap this whole idea because of this. I'm going to actually rebuild this because I feel like that's too much. I don't think anyone is going to run it that way. If you are, well, actually, let's put it on full auto before we do that. Let's put it on full auto, and let's check it out. Okay. Even for my taste, that's too slow. Too slow, not enough damage. That's going to struggle for sure. Now remember, we're just trying to get a feel for how things are, trying out a few mods. Some people might think that I'm, absolutely just god awful at showing this thing off. But let's throw in a full point strike. We'll keep that critical chance high enough. We have 7 to play around with. So if we wanted to go status, we could put on something like Malignant Force. But like I said, this config big was mostly status. This one is going to be mostly focused on crit chance. So maybe if you have an Argon scope, there's another one of those instances where people are going to say, well, I don't have Argon scope. Vile acceleration, fire rate, but it's going to decrease damage. Is that worth it? I don't know. I don't know. It is a crit-based thing, and our fight, we could try and get our fire rate up, but that's if you want to go fire rate. Other than that, let's just say crit. Crit, so we could go bladed rounds, on kill, get extra crit damage. We already have a hammer shot on here. We already have point strike. We could go vital sense. We could fit a 80% vital sense on here. So let's just get that crit multiplier up as high as possible and not kill our fire rate. Let's just reset this so that we have a fresh slate to work with. We're going to stick with semi-auto still for this first part because we're focused on the crit. Alright, still getting 2 shots on butchers. Okay, it took I think 5 shots on that MOA, so we'll see on what happens with this one. It took 8 shots on that MOA. It took 4 to 5 on that corrupted. Yeah, took about 6 on that one. I think it was like 7 or 8 on that one. So it looks like, from what I can see, I could be wrong. Obviously, you have more mod slots to work with. We'll go to full auto in just a second. We'll just crank through these guys. And nullifier bubbles are just a pain in the ass when they're grouped up like that. So, okay, that was absolutely horrible. Okay, well, screw these guys. Obviously, you don't want 2 nullies standing together if you're running semi-auto. So what we're going to do is kill, we're going to simulate, and we're going to go to full. For my taste, for what I've been seeing, having something like a dual stat mod on, along with some of that crit, I mentioned in the last video, you should probably be running crit and status, which doesn't, my opinion on that has not changed. That corrupted, yep, that corrupted drone took a little bit. Heavy gunner still takes a bit. If you don't get a corrosive, corrosive status effect on these guys, even with your high crit, these guys are struggling to be killed. There we go, on their reload. So, yeah, I'm under, like I said, I personally feel that the second build, partial status, partial crit, is going to be better for this. So, we'll see. I mean, we already kind of see number-wise that you're going to benefit from that status, dual stat mod. Obviously, use the statuses that are appropriate for whatever faction you're fighting. If you are the kind of person that will change your build up for every faction, so your dual stat mods will probably change. Whether you want to go corrosive, whether you want to go heat, or what is it, magnetic maybe for some of the shields and stuff going on. But that's that. That's my second look. I feel better about my opinions and stuff by showing a build like this in this fashion. Like I said, I've done something like this in the past and I've received negative feedback, and I was trying out what I just tried out for the sake of getting your guys' feedback, and obviously you guys don't like that way of me reviewing things, so that will probably not continue. So if you like this video, or you at least like the fact that I gave it a second look, please let me know. You can tell me, like a normal person would, or you can just caps lock and just flip out. It's up to you, but just know that I will probably ignore you if you caps lock and flip out. So anyways, I appreciate you guys for giving me feedback. Obviously, whether, if it sounds like bad feedback, I understand that it is also considered positive feedback, because that means you didn't like something and something needs to be fixed. So if something needs to be fixed, let me know. I do appreciate it. I do. I may sound a little bit jaded, but I'm sorry if I came across that way. Anyways, until next time, guys. Blow!